Okay, so we'll be looking at the exec system call and how it's essentially implemented in XV6. But before that, uh, we'll just look at a little bit at a higher level and then go more deeper. Right. So what we typically do, right? So we have a program, right, and we compile it like this. Say hello.c, and this compiles it and essentially gives you an output a.out. Okay. Now this a.out is what we call as the executable. Okay, and the compiler not just creates executables but can also create a lot of other outputs. For example, the compiler a compiler like GCC can also give you an output which is called object files. So for instance, if I run this command gcc hello.c minus c, right, with the minus c option, then I get a GCC essentially produces a file called hello.o. So this hello.o is essentially an object file. Okay, it cannot be executed, but it contains all of the functions, the global data, and so on present in hello.c. So typically, what one would do is you would take this hello.o and several other object files, and you can use a linker to essentially create an executable. Okay, so the flow is, if you're writing a large program and which comprises of multiple files, the typical flow is as follows. So let us say that each C file that you have is called, let's say, 1.c, 2.c, 3.c, so on, 5.c, right? For each of these, we essentially create the corresponding object file using a compiler like this with the option of -c. So for each of this, each C file, you would get a corresponding object file. Okay, so each object file is essentially created, like for instance, gcc 1.c minus c would give you 1.o, which is the object file, right? Now what we need to do is essentially use the linker to link all of these files together. So you feed 1.o, 2.o, 3.o, 5.o. You may also want to essentially link some libraries like the glibc, which we have spoken of earlier, and you pass this through a linker to give you the executable. Okay, so you're using the compiler over here and a linker to create the executable, right? Now the critical thing over here is the fact that these files, these 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 5.0, glibc, which is your library, and the executable are essentially in a particular format known as the executable linker format, or ELF. Right? So ELF stands for executable linker format. So if the file that is in the ELF format happens to be an executable, then that file can essentially be used to create a process, right? So let us say my executable is called a.out, right? So since it is an executable on my Linux system, it would have the ELF format, right? And this ELF is kind of a standard which is used by multiple different platforms. It's used over embedded systems. It's fairly used quite largely on Linux and so on. For other platforms such as Windows, you may have another format, right? So, for instance, an ELF file which is generated for Linux would not essentially execute on Windows because the format is different, right? So, let's now consider the executable, right? So, we have the executable a.out, and we are now wanting to create a process or run this particular file a.out, right? Now, the way we do it is again typically from command line. We do /a.out, okay, or if it is if your if this is let's say a graphics based application, you may essentially have an icon for this and double click on that particular icon, right? So once you double click or once you essentially run this command /a.out from the working directory of which has this a.out file, then your OS essentially creates a process out of it, right? So what is essentially the steps involved? So as we seen in the previous class, when you have a prompt like this prompt is essentially coming from a, a shell, right? It's a shell such as the bash shell or the C shell. Now the shell itself is a process, right? And when you essentially what it essentially does is that it permits a user to feed in any command or any text or anything and takes appropriate action. So for example, if the user essentially does /a.out and presses enter, internally what the shell would do is that it would first create a child process. So typically this child process is created by fork, executing the fork system call, and the result would be a new process being created which essentially has a different PID which we will call P. So the fork system call essentially creates a child process, right? So as we have seen earlier, we have the shell script which is essentially a process which is running in the user space, and when fork essentially executes, there is a system call that's created which essentially creates a child process. So this was the original shell process, and this is the child process which is a duplicate of the shell, right? So since it's a duplicate or an exact copy of it, so I'm going to just call it as child shell. Now as we've also seen earlier that the fork returns the PID of a process, right? So the value of P is equal to 0 in the child process. The fork essentially returns a value of 0 in the child process, and the child's PID, that is a PID of the new created process in the parent process, right? Now typically if we want to execute a program like a.out, we load this a.out into the child process memory. So we would do something like this. If P equal to 0, then we know that it is the child process. And we would invoke the exec system call with the executable name which is in the ELF format, and possibly send some command line parameters as well if it is needed, right. So in this particular case there are no command line parameters, so you essentially send null. Okay. So what exec system call does is that within the child process it would load the code and data corresponding to the a.out process, right. So now the shell code and data doesn't exist anymore, but what you would have is the child process, but comprising of the uh, code and data corresponding to a.out, right. Now at the same time, within the parent process, the parent would essentially wait for the child to complete, right. So in our example, what this means is that the bash shell, which is essentially the parent process here, is going to be blocked or put into the sleeping state until the child process, in this case a.out, completes its execution. So after the child process completes and exits, then the parent process wakes up and then continues its execution. So in this case, you would essentially see something like this, right? Another shell, another prompt, a shell prompt, indicating that the shell is essentially running, executing once more, and it's ready to take the next command from the user. Okay. So what we are going to do in this class is that we are going to look into the details and into the internals of this exec system call. But to understand this, we would first need to understand the ELF format or the executable linker format, right. So notice again that the ELF format is used both for object files, libraries, as well as the executable, right. Now the ELF format is a very tightly coupled with the compiler and the operating system. So this is where the compiler interfaces with the OS or understands the OS understands. Okay, so this is where the compiler and the OS share something in common, right? The compiler generates files which is in the ELF format, and the OS reads these files and processes them. For example, executes a new process. Okay. Yeah. So one thing to highlight about the exec system call is that there are various different formats, right? So here, for instance, there is the exec LP format which is used, which takes 3 parameters. But besides this, there are multiple other different exec formats. Each of them vary by just a little bit, right? So at a high level, what the exec system call does is that it loads a program into memory and executes it. So just like we've seen the a.out being executed, in this example, we have the ls command, which is essentially executed. So the ls, as you would know, essentially lists the contents of a directory and can be used to essentially browse a file system.